Murderbot on Apple TV frequently encapsulates its emotional depth in comedy and whimsical mayhem. However, Episode 9 demonstrates that beneath all of the dry humor and sarcasm, there is a cyborg struggling with very human emotions, which it is unable to conceal this time. The extent to which the SecUnit will go to defend the humans it didn't want to care for is examined in this penultimate episode, which also drives Murderbot into emotionally and physically risky situations. The change in power between Gurathin and Murderbot. Gurathin and Murderbot had a difficult yet illuminating dynamic at the beginning of the episode. Gurathin, a PreservationAux team member, has always been suspicious of Murderbot, particularly after learning of the SecUnit's last murderous rampage. However, underlying Gurathin's sarcastic exterior is fear, not only of Murderbot, but also of their impending doom. Gurathin, who has battled moral faults and addiction, anticipated dying young. It has been an unexpected benefit to live in peace under Mensah's rule, but now that Gurathin is stranded on a hostile world where death is a real possibility, his pessimism Despite his icy demeanor, Gurathin has a strong bond with the squad and is in love with Mensah. Having gained access to Gurathin's confidential systems, Murderbot is aware of this secret and obviously takes pleasure in seeing Gurathin struggle. It's not all banter though. Murderbot struggles with its own complex emotions as well, especially its inclination to defend humanity despite its deceptive behavior.
If those were
Murderbot's covert scheme, the crew believes Murderbot will carry out a risky strategy because their chances of surviving appear slim. As expected, however, Murderbot only provides them with the information they require, keeping important data private to safeguard them, and most likely their nerves. The official strategy? Gurathin and Pin Lee will utilize a drone to remotely launch a beacon to alert assistance when Murderbot approaches the GrayCris team and persuades them to let PreservationAux connect their hub systems. The actual strategy, however, is far riskier and more inspired by its favorite serial opera, Sanctuary Moon. Murderbot pretends to be a renegade SecUnit prepared to turn on its customers gain freedom. To further support the falsehood, it also displays a severed head, not Gurathin's, but rather that of a deceased GrayCris SecUnit. It's a daring move that takes advantage of GrayCris's conceit.
This was the tricky bit.
And lack of knowledge about their own SecUnit. The GrayCris leader purchases Murderbot is just as self-centered as they are. They give Gurathin access to the system so he may prepare for the beacon launch. Unaware that it's all part of the plan, the PreservationAux team watches in terror as Murderbot appears to turn on. Things take a different turn, however. Like with any Murderbot scheme, things don't go as planned for very long. Gurathin loses control of the drone when a huge bird knocks it out of the sky. The planned explosion to destroy the GrayCris crew cannot occur without a beacon launch. Even worse, GrayCris demands that Murderbot go with them to the launch pad, guaranteeing that if the beacon does activate, the SecUnit will be caught in the blast. The secret is improvisation. Murderbot unintentionally breaks its cover, as it quotes Sanctuary Moon in the midst of the escalating tension. Murderbot's actual intentions are revealed when one of the GrayCris agents identifies the lines from the corny program they all despise. Murderbot ardently defends Sanctuary Moon despite the possibility of death, demonstrating how endearingly human this cyborg is. The group struggles back. Gurathin and Pin Lee, meanwhile, rush to save the mission. After the initial approach fails, they rekindle the beacon sequence by breaking into GrayCris's systems straight from their habitat. In a dramatic incident that demonstrates how desperation drives even the most peaceful people to act, Pin Lee, in spite of their pacifist character, even murders a GrayCris guard to defend Gurathin. Mensah goes to the beacon site herself since she cannot stand by and watch as Murderbot is tortured or killed. The GrayCris leader is caught off guard by her bravery, despite their brutality, in such a task. Murderbot's last offering. Murderbot accepts its emotions in the face of overwhelming odds, something it has always avoided. It turns to cunning after failing to beat the GrayCris SecUnits in direct combat, overloading one unit's systems and destroying it with entertainment streams. When someone else becomes sidetracked, things start to change. However, Murderbot's decision to give itself up for Mensah is the true pivotal moment. Murderbot uses its body to protect Mensah from the impending explosion of the beacon, bearing the full force of the impact as they fall. This act of protection, which was performed out of love rather than programming, speaks volumes for a machine that once considered its customers to be an annoyance. Is Murderbot no longer alive? Despite its structural flaws, Murderbot remains motionless, its goal accomplished. The group is secure. When Gurathin and Pin Lee get to Mensah's help, they discover Murderbot apparently at peace, having completed its task. Death, though? Not exactly. Murderbot's fate is left up in the air in this episode, but it's obvious that this isn't it. The voyage of the SecUnit, which has been marked by passionate loyalty, embarrassing emotion, and reluctant self-discovery, is just getting started. Despite its injuries, Murderbot has discovered something unexpected: affection for a bunch of flawed, kind people, and maybe even acceptance of itself. Thank you for watching.